Hi, welcome back to the Dylan Rounds case. Welcome if you're here currently in the chat. Feel free to talk about things as we go along in the discussion and also talk about other stuff too, other theories you may have, other people you're suspicious of, and your overall opinion on stuff, okay? All that can be done. Now, in this video, we're actually continuing on from the whole investigation that went down in recent time of Jim's former property, his burnt down trailer. And additionally, what I'm going to be sharing with you today is an official report by them of the investigation, okay? Along with a news article. And as well, I'm going to be sharing with you all of the drama that's gone on in recent time, and it has got more serious now. Okay, and also one of my predictions came true too. So first of all, let's start off with the important part, the investigation of Jim's burnt down trailer and how it was explained by the authority. So this report I'm about to show you can be found on the Find Dylan Rounds Facebook page, and it was shared by Jazz Girlson, okay? It's an update from ECSO on the search warrant. And it reads, Elko County Sheriff's Office, 23 hours ago. Dylan Rounds update, August 2022. Dylan Rounds update. Elko, Nevada, August 15th, 2022. The Elko County Sheriff's Office assisted the Box Elder County Sheriff's Office with the application of a search warrant and service of the search warrant. The search warrant was for a parcel of land in Nevada owned by James Brenner. The Box Elder County Sheriff's Office has named Brenner as a suspect in the disappearance of Rounds. It's a bit of a tongue twister reading all that out then. Personnel from the Elko County Sheriff's Office, Box Elder Sheriff's Office and Search and Rescue used advanced searching methods, which included cadaver dogs, drones, and archaeological excavation procedures to process Brenner's property in hopes to locate information that would lead to the location of Dylan Rounds. It reads, no items of interest or evidence was discovered on the property during the search. Please contact Box Elder County Sheriff's Office with any further questions about the investigation. So that's good how you've got an official report by the people involved in it, because I understand within this case, compared to others, like that one about that female in recent time, the one with the blonde hair, but there's not been any proper conferences, press conferences, public talks, like that stuff. It's been a bit quiet, but at least something like this, something formal and written by the authority involved, kind of helps and gives a bit of clearance of what went down. And as well, most important part is understanding the equipment and methods used as described on there, using the cadaver dogs as we heard, but also using drones, which is very useful. And we've seen it used by the mob crew, and they were responsible for finding those track marks in the wash near Dylan's land. So it just goes to show that, it can reveal stuff, it can be helpful. Now, if you compare it to the Kenny Veach case, drones were never used. And you know why? Because with the military land nearby, the restrictions of the airspace, what's allowed and what isn't, drones aren't allowed within the area. I mean, the odd person has tried, they're a bit risky. Most people haven't, because you're not allowed to. Even search and rescue didn't. But in a case like this, with the area, with it being so vast and open and no military boundary nearby, as compared to Jeremy Canyon, you're a bit more free. You're able to do more, I guess, and not just the authorities, but the general public that searched the area as well, as we have seen with the mob crew and maybe some other people too. So that's all good. And as well, the bit where it talks about archaeological excavation. Now, if someone reads that out, they'll probably instantly assume that they're the track marks that are at the wash. But I don't think that's the case. If people read it out, excavation, they'll probably assume that they're the track marks that were found at Jim Brenner's property, what Lance caught on camera. But that can't be the case either, because that was 2 days before the LE investigated that place. So that can't apply there. Okay, just wanted to clear things up before people get confused. So yeah, that's pretty much it. In terms of the comments, I don't know if they show or not. Some people were saying, my question is, why on earth would they have waited this long before heading out to Brenner's property? It's been over 2 months since Dylan's disappearance. That property should have been searched with a fine-tooth comb long before now. That piece of land has been searched numerous times, which has only hampered the crime scene. Okay. So what does Kathy mean by it's been searched numerous times? What? The whole land of Montello, or the specific land owned by Jim Brenner? Or like literally the trailer itself and the land on that? It's like, you know, I don't know who else has been there. I know Lance and Kimber, but who else? We know someone else at least has been there because of those track marks, but I don't know who exactly. And this person called Kathy is saying, oh, lots of people have been there. Have they really? Or has it been the same people each time? You know what I'm saying? Hopefully that can be cleared up in the chat somewhere. Same thing happened with the Kenny Veach case, Jeremy Canyon, the mine shaft, all these people coming in saying, oh yeah, this land has been, searched several times by many people. It's a big major tourist spot for many hikers to come with the hiking poles, invitation straps, and, queue up like it's Mount Everest. What? No. Only a small handful of people come and go. It's vast, it's desolate at nearly all times. And even when hikers and searchers have been out there, they didn't see anyone else in the area. And I guess the same applies here, because when Ty and Lance have been exploring, and when they were interviewed by Zav Girl, Ty and Lance said, nope, we don't see anyone else when we're out there, just us. So that puts things into perspective, okay? Anything else? Does that work for tap on that? Is there anything in this article that says this is the first time they've searched? I'm pretty sure it's been searched before today. Huh? What's this one? No, the first warrant was denied for lack of evidence. So Ellie took this time to build evidence to get a new warrant, and it was granted. Okay. Well, I thought the original reason was they just didn't have access, or they weren't allowed to go on the land or something. I guess that just ties in with the whole warrants thing anyway. What does it say? Wasn't that land there recently set on fire and burnt down to the ground? So if that's the case, how could anything be discovered if it was all burnt up? It's so frustrating, the lack of time that went by and evidence was probably trampled on and gone. My heart goes out to the family, and I hope and pray that Dylan is found. Well, the way they're with it, what? The way the whole thing's been set on fire like a bloody forest fire. What? No. It's not been like that. It's just a trailer that exploded, either because Jim supposedly left the oven, the cooker, the stove on, and there was those gas tanks inside at the same time, and then it ignited and blew up. Or the other claim, what Pancakes has said, that someone shot at the canisters inside and then it blew up that way. Either way, that's how it was caused, man-made. And it didn't cause a mass, fire of the ground or anything like that. And as well, what this person's saying, they think it's happened recently, but it wasn't. It was 2 years ago. So that's why it's just important just to clear the odd few things up along the way, so there's less confusion with time. Is there anything else here? Like that 21 hours ago, sunflowers still, talking about that. Search warrant, 15. Okay, so that's like the original thing, the timeline of where it happened, the 15th, right. Uh, wasn't the one by Candice as well somewhere? Or did I go past it? I'm not too sure. Oh, is it? Yeah, Candice Cooley, 15th of August. I just got off the phone with the ECSO. Unfortunately, there was nothing on Brenner's property that was searched in Nevada today. As a family, we would like to thank the ECSO for their assistance. This is in no way a setback on bringing Dylan home. This is just one place we can check off the list. That's one way of wording it, yeah? Now, you can interpret it differently when it comes to that investigation as a whole, and from what Candy said about ticking, marks and spots off as we continue the investigation. Okay, you can leave your thoughts in the chat, but I'm going to give you my opinion right now in response to that. The way it's been worded, and based on how things were previously said, how at the farm, or at least the grain shed and that area specifically, but there are investigations going underway at that place, at that spot, things have been found which can't be shared with the general public, as roughly quoted on that East Idaho News Channel interview of Candice. If that was the case and the focus was all on that spot, there must be importance behind it. And now, with them just going off way into Montello all of a sudden, now, after all this time, to look at a different spot to tick off, it's as if, well, what about all the attention at the farm? The way it was all hyped up was, this is the spot. This is where the investigation is going. This is where things have been found. Well, if you found stuff, then it can't be that important or that critical if you need to go off way over that way to have a brief look as well. You know what I'm saying? It's as if, yeah, they might have found some things, but not solid evidence, or not Dylan himself. And now they're going off elsewhere to try and, grasp at straws, or to try and find other evidence which could help more. That can be interpreted differently, okay? I'll just give you the alternative understanding so people don't whinge and whine, okay? So it could be interpreted in a different way as, yes, the police have done what they've done, law enforcement on Dylan's land, they have found stuff, part of it, but they need more. Or they just want to really strengthen the case with evidence so they can tie it directly to someone. It might just so happen that the items found at the farm were linked with Jim in some way. And then when they found out about Jim's former place of living, they thought, right, we best go there because there might be even more evidence or more clues, or it might be the spot of Dylan. So that's why they went over there. That was their aim. They've already been successful here. They want to be successful elsewhere to tie it all together. That's another way of interpreting it. Leave your thoughts down below. Do you think it was exaggerated in the past when they said they focused and found stuff at Dylan's farm, Dylan's land? Was that exaggerated? And now they're looking elsewhere like a wild goose chase, whether it's successful or not, to try and find something? Or are they just building the case with more evidence, or attempting to get more evidence to strengthen and get a conviction, a successful outcome? So, different ways it can be interpreted, in fairness. Now, I'll just share with you some news articles, see if there's any additional information or dates and stuff mentioned, and we'll go from there. Okay, so this article is by the Elko area, the news coverage. There was an ABC Utah news web article as well, but that wasn't accessible due to the country I live in. Though on this Elko site, interestingly, it doesn't always show up the information. It's a blank white screen. So I've got to activate the reader mode, which makes the background all black and the text remains white, so it's actually visible to see. It's like some bloody secret message. Don't know why, but there you go. Anyway, the title of this article reads, Elko County property searched in Utah missing man case. different choice of word in that, okay? Elko. Law enforcement from 2 states searched the Nevada property of a man who has been named as a suspect in the disappearance of a 19-year-old Utah man nearly 12 weeks ago. Okay, the wording of this article is a little bit shit, okay? Not even mentioning Dylan's name, they're just saying a 19-year-old. Also, this is outdated, and yet this article was done obviously in recent time after Dylan's birthday, and they're saying he's 19. No, he's 20 years old. So it's not exactly going well at the moment. It mentions a suspect. We already know the suspect by now. It's Jim Brenner, also known as James Brenner. Okay? Let's continue reading. The Elko County Sheriff's Office assisted the Box Elder County Sheriff's Office with the search warrant Monday on a parcel of land owned by James A. Brenner. Oh, you're now mentioning his name. They were hoping to locate information that would lead to the location of Dylan Rounds. Oh, they're now mentioning his name. A Utah farmer who was reported missing at the end of May. Correct. Personnel from the 2 departments used advanced search methods which include... Okay. Is this written out the same exact way as it was elsewhere? Yeah, it was for that part in the Facebook post, yeah. Box Elder County Sheriff's Office has named Brenner, 59 years of age, as a suspect in the disappearance of Rounds. Brenner was charged in June with being a felon in possession of firearms. Yes. People are also reading. Okay, what's this? Okay, a few more additional stuff. According to the ECSO, Rounds was in Montello on May 26, then he returned to his home in Lucin, Utah. He made a phone call to a family member on May 28th at approximately 6:51 a.m. Mountain Time and has not been seen or heard from since. Brenner has been the focus of the investigation for several weeks. He was described as a squatter who was a family friend that lived in a trailer about 5 miles away from Round's home. Correct. Utah law enforcement requested assistance from the FBI and the Davis County Sheriff's Office, and they searched Brenner's trailer in mid-June. Brenner is currently in the Weber County Jail on the earlier firearm charges and assault charge, reported ABC News in Salt Lake City. So, if there's any misinformation there or confusion with the wording or the dates, the timeline, feel free to leave a comment down below or in the chat, okay? So yeah, I just wanted to share that little article with you just to compare and contrast, because at times articles where news reports can differ from the information presented, and that's not a good thing. So it's worth just looking at and clearing up any mistakes along the way. Now, we move into the second part of this video, and it's to do with my prediction. So you remember when I talked about the whole peace treaty, the whole let's hold hands together and be all nice and caring. Ooh, yes, please. Well, I said, I wonder when the drama will kick off again. And I said that very shortly afterwards, saying, oh, I wonder what will happen next, or who will appear next, what kind of arguments and disagreements will come about. Well, in a short amount of time, yes, the peace treaty has ceased, and it's back to, fire at will, all hell breaking loose. And arguably it's got a bit more serious in recent time and could get worse with time, depending what moves people make. That'll make more sense shortly as I talk you through the stuff, okay? So what's the best way to visualize it before we get into it properly? Well, as you see, I'm holding a pear. Now, obviously, most pears don't have a smiley face on. Well, that's unfortunate. But you could say this is like part of the community within the Dylan Rounds case. If this is rotting, it's decayed over time, it's not exactly a pleasant sight, not much of a presence to be around. It can be off-putting, it can throw people off, and that's like how it is within the Dylan Rounds case, when you see different people and characters bashing each other, spreading misinformation, maybe slander as well. it might get in the way of trying to solve the Dylan Rounds case. It might even put people off, so then they move on to a different mystery, another missing person case. So that's one way of looking at it. Now, this pair itself is, I don't know, it's confusing. It's hard, at the same time it's soft. You know what I'm saying? Hard down here and soft up here. Okay. So with that in mind, I mean, this is the way you've got to look at it. You'll get people within the case that'll say, oh, Doug is a right little rat, the way he scuttles around with him. You know, he might have been a former wrestler, but he's not going to be able to slip away anymore now unless he's got that oil on him, like that. Or you could say something like, you know, people don't seem to like salty pancakes or something, the way they've been calling him out with his voice altering changes, saying, oh yeah, salty pancakes, the way he talks like a little chipmunk at times with his high-pitched voice, like that. So that's one way. You see the characters, certain characteristics, how they're forming. And then some people saying, oh, when you look at Ty, he looks like a big, soft individual, very welcoming like that. Whee. But if you piss him off or you get on the wrong side of him for genuine reasons, he's gonna, you know, bear hug you, quoted by Doug, okay? So what is needed? Well, with time, you need some kind of individual to step in and spread. Well, to be honest, it's not gone to plan because that text is reversed. Does it help if I do it upside down? No, it doesn't. Problematic. That's kind of been ruined, that. Basically, it says with love. Now, it's probably not the best choice of words the way things are going. You know, they'll be probably saying, you're gay, you're gay, you're gay, you're gay. You know, massive witch hunt, I don't know, all chaos is going to break loose. But, you know, it's one of those things like to, where are they all gone? Shit. It's one of those things where, depending on how you interpret it, the way the case has gone, okay, with the drama, I don't know how intense it was at the start, but I'm sure there was drama from the beginning because that's what other people have said. And with time, it's built and built. And then suddenly, there was a bit of a ceasefire with Zavgirl's live chat on one of the days. I think that was a few days ago, maybe a week, under a week, as well as Salty Pancakes on the same exact night. And the way everyone was acting, if you haven't heard already, or if you haven't seen what went down at the time, it was like, yes, we need to drop all this tension. We need to unite. We need to hold hands like this, and we've got to get together like this and be on the same page and think together and search together. Oh yes, let's have a group hug like that. Oh my God, Andrew's got his soft little cuddly toys and he's hugging him. Oh my God, that's so cute. Oh my God, my heart melts. Ooh, ooh. Yeah, I think that's enough of that. You get the idea of the way things have gone. And obviously it's fired back up again and it's trying to understand what's happened now. Because if you look at, you know, Doug's podcast, or why do I say fucking podcast? Because YouTubers do podcasts all over the place, like some kind of degenerative, sheepish trend. Basically, when Doug does his live streams and live call-ins with the panel and guest, recently Ty stepped in and gave his account and understanding of what's been going on and how he feels and thinks about Salty and what Salty has done, which has caused, people to step over the line, cross the line, pushing boundaries which aren't acceptable. And where did it all stem from? What was the catalyst for igniting, issues again? Well, it's actually tied with the investigation of Jim Brenner's former property, the burnt down trailer. You might be wondering, how? Why? Well, from the way it was said in that Doug's video, Ty was talking about him trying to reach out to Pancakes, whether it be because Pancakes wanted to know in the first place or Pancakes was spreading misinformation to begin with, okay? Ty reached out trying to phone him and say, this is what's happening. No, you're incorrect. You're wrong about that. You're wrong about that. It was actually this that was being looked at. and I guess Salty Pancakes was having none of it, or he didn't agree, or he was frustrated by it. Because from what was originally said, Salty Pancakes supposedly believed the investigation of the law enforcement were looking at Christopher Lloyd's land. I don't know who Christopher Lloyd is. If you know, feel free to leave a comment in the chat. But yeah, that's what it was interpreted as at the time. And to be honest, when things were all underway, and I think it was during my live premiere video I did, some people in the chat were coming in saying, yeah, the law enforcement have got involved, breaking news, they're looking at Christopher Lloyd's property. And I was like, what? But then other people were saying they were at Jim's property. So you can see that split down the middle, and that's probably what caused the confusion, the frustration. Ty was saying Jim's property, which was the truth, as we found out in the report, the news one and the articles, and Pancakes believed it was at Christopher Lloyd's, which was wrong. So whilst Ty was trying to get in contact with Pancakes, Salty Pancakes wasn't like picking up the phone, was ignoring him. So I guess that caused some issues there. Ty also brought up the fact that Salty Pancakes was acting as if he was like involved in the investigation whilst it was underway, quoting or referring back to that news report article where it showed clips of Lance's footage in the area nearby, you know, that convoy of the law enforcement, but also the bit where it showed Pancakes reporting on the case and the way he was driving or walking down, making it seem like he was within the area as it was all going down. But Ty said he was like 200 miles away in Utah, so he was nowhere near when it was happening. So I guess that caused frustration there. Is there anything else? The arguments, ignoring Ty's calls, threats by Salty. So you might be wondering, what's that got to do with? It probably stems back to previous arguments, disagreements, and frustration. Okay, it might make a little bit more sense shortly when I mention some other bullet points. But because of the phone calls and the way the information was being passed about, Salty Pancakes said to Ty, because I guess didn't like the way he was talking to him, that he's going to re-upload the odd video or two. Now, you might be wondering, what video? I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it's to do with the one where Pancakes was driving around the area, or was being drove around the area by Kurt in that 4x4 buggy when passing Lance and Kimber's homestead and the alpaca farm, Ty's farm. And, you know, there's that argument going around like, oh, why are you doxing those people? Why are you putting those people in danger? You might get creeps coming along, harassing the kids and causing disturbance and stuff. You shouldn't be uploading a video of that online publicly. So there was complaints about doxing, and Ty, didn't like what Pancakes was doing. And then because of this recent fallout and argument, Pancakes said he was going to re-upload it. I guess previously he took it down because Ty reached out and they met an understanding, as said in that Pancakes live stream, what you previously saw. I guess, they shook hands virtually. There was an understanding there. But then, once again, things have flared back up. Pancakes supposedly re-uploaded that video, which I guess probably annoyed Ty more because of it. But then again, if you look at Salty Pancakes' most recent video, live stream he did in response to that sort of stuff, Pancakes was talking quite calmly, using precise wording, and he just seemed calm in general. Okay, other people can interpret it differently and say, well, it's because of this and it's actually because of that. Well, yeah, maybe, but just from first impressions, Pancakes seemed different to maybe how he previously did. So there was that. And Pancakes was putting the argument forwards. A counterpoint was he's not doxing because all he's showing is what is publicly visible in one's eyesight. No mailboxes were shown, no addresses, no, really private information was revealed. It's just a visual look at the area, and you can see that a lot online publicly. just on Google Street Imaging and so on. It's there, publicly available. So Pancakes wasn't going behind the scene and finding bits of information, private stuff, and then posting it. That didn't happen. So I can understand the argument being put back. But then again, Ty was bringing up about how Pancakes did go behind people's backs in the past with certain phone calls or interviews and secretly recording them without one's consent, which isn't that good, and I guess is illegal in a way, or in certain circumstances at least it's illegal. So, there's a back and forth around that. Now, is there anything else? Well, Ty said that Salty has got everything wrong up to now within the mystery case. All the points, theories, claims, suspects, and suspicion towards certain people like Candice. Who else? I can't remember the other names, to be honest, but you can look back if you want. And there's basically Ty was saying that Pancakes hasn't got anything right. He's just caused more misinformation and confusion along the way. But then again, I guess Pancakes at a point was putting the point forward in his videos that the way Ty's acting, his behaviour, who he knows, who he's friends with, that could be biased there on how Ty reports on the case. He might be covering for some people because he's close-knit with them, even though they might be involved in the case in some way. So yeah, you had that. Was there anything else? Salty saying, there was one about Salty saying that Lance lied at the start of the case, lying about where he lived and his intentions within the case. And it's like, what? I don't know what that's really about, that, but it was just, roughly mentioned that Lance isn't a good guy. And I guess in recent times, there was other people attacking Lance or just putting claims forward saying that Lance is probably responsible for setting the whole thing up at Jim's property, the spades, the dig marks, track marks possibly as well. So it's like setting it up to benefit in a way, to create more of a mystery than it is. Just like how supposedly Salty Pancakes did with Kurt at Chase Venture's homestead. Now in recent time, there was a counterpoint put forward by Eric that Pancakes wasn't confessing in that way. It was more in a sarcastic tone. It's just one of those things where certain humans will misunderstand that, so that'll cause more confusion within more confusion. So you got that back and forth again. You got Ty, or at least Lance, being accused of setting things up, faking stuff, turning it into a mystery, or an area into a mystery, maybe framing someone, and then Pancakes being accused of doing it himself as well. So once again, problems. As well, there's, I guess, that hypocrisy point mentioned where Ty, in the interview with Doug, said about how, quoting what Pancake said at the time, that no donations, no PayPal, no Cash App, no transactions, nothing, it's all free, not going to benefit in any way financially. And then Ty said, in recent times, Salty Pancakes has enabled super thanks and the donations and the PayPal and the Cash App and all those forms of making money. So it's a bit weird to go back on your own words like that, so it makes you a hypocrite. I mean, from a blind perspective, well, yeah, a bit hypocritical if you say one thing and then do the other afterwards, despite being so against it. So yeah, that is a bit hypocritical. Don't know much more about that though, but yeah, that's what's going on there. Though an observation of my own, which is kind of like one of those hypocritical points and observations, is that whilst Ty is calling Salty Pancakes out, and Ty was also calling viewers out that watch Salty's videos as being idiots, and yet Ty is appearing on Doug's channel, in which Doug has been accused, and there's suspicion around him as spreading misinformation and a lot of it, and exaggerating many points within the case. So if Ty believes Pancakes has got a lot of information wrong and has caused misinformation, and Doug is somewhat the same, then why is Ty being interviewed? Why did Ty agree to join the panel on Doug's live stream? Bit weird, isn't it? A bit hypocritical, right? Or is there some kind of biasness? You'll criticise that person for doing this, but you won't that person because you get on better with them. So kind of problematic that. Was there anything else? Yes, a bit more serious, a final point or so, and it's more to do with, I guess, a previous thing. I don't know how long ago it was, correct me if I'm wrong, or add in extra information as we go along, but Ty said in one of Salty's previous videos, Salty encouraged viewers to report Lance and Kimber to the CPS, I guess, because maybe the living conditions, where they're at, maybe to try putting the argument across saying, oh, they're in Montello, full of criminals, supposedly. It's dangerous, it's not safe, maybe the parents aren't good. Maybe that's how it was worded and slanted at the time to encourage viewers to contact them. And I think the CPS did go out there all the way into Montello from what Ty said. Obviously nothing happened, but it's the fact that that action took place, that someone went behind somebody else's back, even though you don't know them in real life properly. And yet that's what you did. And, there have been cases, just like when, a male might be accused of something, reported when they haven't done anything wrong, but through misunderstanding or through like a witch hunt, their life is ruined afterwards. The same can happen in this case with Lance and Kimber and their children. So if that CPS report was underway and was successful, the kids could have been taken away, even though there was no need to do that in the first place, because they were in safe hands, the parents are good, and they are living okay. But, it's that what if, and I guess that's what really enraged Ty. And you might be thinking, why should Ty be so concerned? Well, I guess it ties in with the fact that Ty gets on well with Lance and Kimber, and that maybe like visited round to each other's houses. Was it Phyllis as well as something, the wife of Ty? Correct me if I'm wrong, because I think there was a previous video where Ty and Phyllis were in hospital because Phyllis, I think, has got cancer or something, and Lance and Kimber visited, showing support and stuff, and also because they have met each other through the whole Dylan Rounds search, towards the start when they went out looking, and then they met up and agreed that way, and then introduced themselves with family and got on well that way. That's what I mean. Even when it comes to a missing person case, it doesn't matter which one it is. Obviously, the main missing person is the most important part, but an indirect important thing is people can find one another through a missing person case and then become friends or whatever happens. So you can get these indirect sub-side positive effects, okay? So I guess with that connection being formed, that friendship, then I guess people defend each other, and that's what Ty said at the time in a previous interview, where he said if he had to choose something over something else, he'd choose, the friends or the family within Montello, regardless, because, he protects them and cares for them and vice versa. So that would explain all to why Ty was enraged by what Salty Pancakes did, especially just even down to the location of where Pancakes might be situated. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, if any of that is false in the chat. Maybe some of you might have not heard it before, that's why I just wanted to bring it up. But yeah, anything else? Well, the way it's worded, it's like the gloves are off now. And I'm not quoting Silverheels this time. I know that boxing match never happened. What a shame, what a shame. But no, in seriousness, in this case with Ty and Pancakes, Ty was basically saying, if you come back to Montello, there's going to be some serious problems, okay? There's a bit of name calling, joking around, messing around, stuff like that, insults, what you'd normally say, standard. But I guess the way they worded it, or the way Ty said something like, if Pancakes came back to Montello when we were driving out in the area, the desert, we'd drive off without him, so he'd have to walk 10 miles back. Now, I don't know if that's a literal thing or it's just like figure of speech, but it could be like a form of punishment in a way, you know what I'm saying? Where someone acts out and you're like, fine, if you're gonna misbehave, I'm gonna make sure you get the message or the idea of when you do misbehave, there are consequences. And no, that wasn't me quoting from one of my previous dodgy videos, okay? Everybody is safe. Don't worry. Everything's all under control. Okay. But yeah, so is there any more predictions I could make personally? Well, I think there'll be more drama along the way, providing the case is continued and there is coverage. I guess people are moving on or shifting focus slightly towards that other missing person in recent time, that female. So I guess things might die down a little bit, or it might move on elsewhere in a different community or focus. But, you know, if things do continue with the Dylan Rounds case, and I'm sure it will to an extent with certain people, there might be tension going on. Or if certain claims are brought up, certain points made, people might reach back in and defend themselves, and then that causes a bit of ignition. As for Montello itself, could there be some kind of wild standoff at some point? Like, do you like if it got to a breaking point? And, you know, this might seem a bit exaggerative, but to be honest, the way the case has gone and the way people have worded it, I think it's all out of the park by now. But could it be like a movie scene at some point? It's getting very close, drawing near to solving Dylan's outcome, even if it's not for the best of reasons, like finding remains, but they're getting so close. You got Ty and Lance out there, but then you've got the Wadsworth brothers and the militia out there hunting them down, but then you've got Pancakes coming in at the same time, who might join up with Kurt Wadsworth. There might be a bit of double crossing at some point. You got the law enforcement and the police coming down as well. You got the family situated around nearby. Maybe that won't happen, but if everybody was all there at once, in which, you know, half the people are already because they live there or live nearby, then it's like, who knows what could happen if Ty, you know, isn't holding back anymore for, you know, arguably for fair reasons and understanding. Then if Pancakes does go anywhere near the area and anything kicks off, someone could get hurt in some way, or it could cause a lot of disruption, just that. And, you know, if you got certain alliances, clans, guides and groups, guys, sounds like a fucking video game, but you get what I'm saying, certain allegiances pledged with one another. If somebody gets attacked, the other person steps in. So depending on what the connections are like, how tight-knit they are, if Pancakes is within the area of Montello for whatever reason, Ty comes along, there is a confrontation, an argument, might lead to something, who knows? You know, if Wadsworth, Kurt Wadsworth, the brothers, or part of the militia are present as well, they might step in. And then even Head Harshberger with his biker gang might step in. And then the law enforcement might step in at some point, and it might be a one big standoff. I don't know, big shootout. That's what I mean. Some people might think, what the fuck are you on about? But to be honest, you could say, what the fuck has gone on with this case with the way it's gone? Anything can happen. There's already been twists and turns. There's been disappointment. There's been excitement in certain cases with supposed progression, which then led to more disappointment. So, you know, as far as predictions go, you know, you had that sudden peace treaty with people and then it suddenly ignited again, which was a bit, oh, where are we at? So you can leave your thoughts down below in the comment section. What do you think will happen next? Do you think there will be more drama? Do you think it will get more out of hand and more serious? Do you think it could cause confusion and disruption to the case of Dylan? Do you think focus is going to be shifted away? Do you think people are going to be put off from the case, from the community, because of the way people are acting as well? And then, like with bigger YouTubers, more established channels, maybe shifting focus elsewhere, do you think the Dylan Rounds case will become, you know, cold case eventually? What do you think? Feel free to let me know down below. That's it for now. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching and goodbye.